Well, hello there. Thank you, Sarah. Hey, everybody, it's David Baer here, and I'm here together with Sarah Sunshine Garrison. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
There you go. So together we are presenting DIY Digital. It's a weekly show where we're going to share our insights into something cool that you can be doing in your online marketing. And today Sarah's going to be sharing something with us that I'm really excited about because it's something I need to learn how to do. But before we get to that, let me make sure that you know who we are and what we're about and how we can be of help to you and how you can be of help to us. So, hey, if you are here live, make sure to say hello in the chat box below, and if you're watching this on a replay, then say hi in the chat box below. My cohort here today is Sarah Sunshine Garrison. She is locally working with clients in all things online and tech related as it relates to their marketing for their business. So she deals with things like email marketing, WordPress setup and maintenance, all their social media, and helps them put plans into place. And we're going to learn a bit about one of those aspects of what she does. But in addition to the work that she does, she's also a wife and a mom, and she loves living here in the Portland metro area, exploring the outdoors, and lots of other cool things. And I just heard a cool story about a field trip that she chaperoned yesterday with her son and a bunch of other fifth graders. So crazy lives that we lead, and glad that we have the opportunity to do it here. So, hey, Sarah. Welcome.
Hey, so that field trip, let me tell you, I went on a field trip. My son is in fifth grade, and I was able to chaperone 8 fifth-grade boys through what's called OMSI, which is here locally. It's an Oregon Museum of Science and Industry, and let me tell you, it was like herding cats. You know, you get them all together, and then suddenly one would disappear, and you're like, "Get back here!" So it was an interesting, fun ordeal, but it was really fun. It was neat to see the kids that have never been to OMSI, kind of how they experience it. So there's my fun little story for the day. So now that I've kind of told my story, I really think I should introduce you, David.
Oh, please.
So let's get into that. So for those of you that don't know who David is, he is the owner of Bear on Marketing. He has been in the marketing industry for over 2 decades.
Oh, nearly 2 decades. I'm not that old.
Nearly 2 decades. Well, you know, I was going to say you don't look it, so you know. Recently, he spent the last couple of years developing his expertise in Facebook advertising, if I can talk, Facebook advertising and marketing funnel development. So he also is a father. He has a 5-year-old daughter, so they're in a different stage of life, which is kind of fun. And yeah, I think that's about it. Do you have any fun stories to tell?
Oh gosh, I always have fun stories to tell, particularly when it involves my 5-year-old daughter. But we are going through teaching her how to read right now, and she is just amazing at the things that she's able to do, and it's just so much fun every night to sit down and watch her discover how to sound out a word, and so that's what we're going through right now in our home, and I couldn't be having more fun. It's just great. So
that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah. So you know, we're watching her, we're witnessing her develop her personality, and I'm going to find a great way to segue from that into what you're going to be talking about, which is developing a persona online. And I wonder if you can give us a little introduction to what we're about to be hearing from you, and then you can take a moment to bring up your slides and get going with your presentation today.
So one of the things that we talked about last week, and I kind of honed in on it, and you'll see kind of a slide once we get going, is, you know, social media is about being social. It's not about constantly selling, but because when we develop, especially on Facebook, when you create a Facebook page, the only thing that you see is what you've posted. You don't necessarily, like in person, you can kind of see what your friends are posting, but on your business page, you can't see what the other people that have liked your page have posted. So we're going to talk about developing, you know, the persona of who likes your page and who's going to be your ideal client and how to talk to them.
That's great. So I'll let you get get ready. And for those of you who have not been on one of our webinars before, or not been inside one of these really cool 22 social apps that you're probably watching this in, here's how this works. Down below there is a comment stream. If you have any comments that you'd like to make or any questions you'd like to ask, one recommendation, the comment stream refreshes automatically every 90 seconds or so. So it's best to just click on the little checkbox that says auto refresh and uncheck it if you have a comment or a question, simply so that you don't inadvertently get cut off while you're making that comment, and then go ahead and recheck it afterwards. Also, you may have noticed, if you are commenting, there's a bit of a delay here. We're about 30 seconds ahead of you, and so there may be a little bit of delay in terms of us seeing your comments or questions and getting to them. But if we do see them, which we will try to strive to do, don't worry, we will get to them eventually. So those are sort of the base rules here, and it looks like Sarah is ready to go. So I'm going to turn the video over to your screen, and I think we should be seeing your screen right now.
Wonderful.
And let's get going. Yeah, so let's get going with your presentation.
Okay, so I'm just going to forewarn everyone, purple is my thing, so you're going to see lots of purple in this presentation, so get ready. So what we're going to be talking about is cracking the code, your ideal client persona. So we're going to go with the basics. So normally when you do a webinar, you kind of do the offer at the end. I'm going to kind of do a sneak peek. This is part of a 6-week email course that I put together. This is the first week, so I'm giving you the first week right now. If you're listening, take notes, take lots of notes. This is the first week. We're going to go over the basics of what it means to create your ideal client persona. So let's start with social media. If you're not ready
to take notes, we should just add that this is here in replay. You'll get to watch it over and over again for the next several days, so don't worry about that.
Awesome, thank you. So let's get started. The first thing is, usually when, especially my clients, when you hear, oh, I've got to be on social media, the first thing you think of is your head just starts to spin. All the social media sites, everything you've got to be on. I mean, if you look through this, there's so many things to get started. Once your head stops spinning and you're like, okay, the first thing that you think is, I could do this. I could do this. So you sit down, you develop, okay, well, what am I going to say? Maybe you started a Facebook page or whatnot, and you think, okay, I'm going to do this. So you create your first post, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is great, except for this is very much more like an ad. This is much more, you know, buy my stuff. So you've went into it, you've posted this, you're thinking, I could do this. But really, what you look like to everyone else is, buy my stuff. So how do you transition from, how do you get in there, and how do you really start talking to your clients without feeling like you're walking around with a big sign over your head saying, buy my stuff? So how do you do that? The first thing you need to do is understand your clients. So each person's going to be different. Obviously, you can see by these clowns, I'm sure each one of them has a different personality. So you really need to understand your clients. To kind of delve into what that looks like, I'm going to start with, I'm going to describe me. A lot of times your clients aren't necessarily what you would like. What they like, what they're interested in, is not necessarily what you're going to talk about on social media. So if I switch over to the next slide, it says here, who am I? I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, I'm a tiny home enthusiast. Yes, I live in a tiny home. Very Portland of me. I'm a dog lover. I'm a grandmother. The boy holding the picture, that was my son. I'm married into a large family, so I actually have 4 grandchildren. I love the outdoors. I like landscape and nature pictures. I'm very family oriented, and I love tea and coffee. I'm probably the biggest coffee snob you'll meet. I'm very particular about my coffee and my tea. Now, that's me. But now my next slide is going to show my clients. So I'll go ahead and move on. You'll notice there's going to be a big difference. So this picture here is actually one of my clients. Her name is Tracy, and her business is The Confidence Project. What I did is kind of outline. Now, this isn't Tracy. This is all of a basic synopsis of my clients, but most of my clients are women. They're business owners. They have adult children. They're 45 years or older. They use social media and technology hesitantly. They're spiritually minded, health conscious. They like the outdoors. They're gracious. Now, what I mean by gracious is whenever I meet with any of my clients, they offer me some sort of a drink. They're very friendly, warm, and open. So that's what I mean by gracious. And most of my clients enjoy traveling. So if you notice, if I switch back to the other side, what I like, my clients are pretty different. So you have to think about that when you start posting on social media. You know, I couldn't just post a ton of nature pictures and hope that my clients are going to follow me. So what do you need to do? So here's where you're going to have to, so this is what you're going to do. So you want to kind of focus on your clients. You know yourself, but you need to know your clients. The basics to start with is who are they? Are they male or female? What age range are they in? Are they, if they're younger, are they 18 to 24? Are they under 18? What kind of income do they have? Breaking that out is really going to help you. Their education level. Maybe education level doesn't matter for the type of business that you're running. Keep that in mind. Family. Do they have a family? Do they not have a family? Have they adopted? Are they like me where I married into a large family? There's all sorts of things that can come up. Marital status and where do they live? Now, these are really basics. Now, where do they live is really interesting. Something to think about. You could think, well, okay, they live in the city, they live in the suburbs, but sometimes you need to get even deeper than that. I think about Portland, the Portland metro area. We have certain pockets where it's just different types of people, and the communication is just a little bit different. The style of interest is just a little bit different. So where they live in your geographic area could be a big player in the overall idea of your client. So yeah, basically you want to go through and really determine each one of these for each status. Marital status is going to be really important too, because what if it doesn't matter? What if you need someone that's single or whatnot? So anyway, from there, this is what we go over in the first week. So make sure that you really identify, look through. If you struggle to find where your ideal client, who your ideal client is, like if you've just started your business and maybe you don't have any clients, I would recommend taking a look at some of your competitors. Who are their clients? What is their demographic? If you do have a few clients, you've just started, you have a few clients, you have this idea that maybe everybody's your client, do some digging and look at who has purchased from you and develop kind of your basics from there. That's actually what I did. Originally, I had this grandiose idea of who was going to be my client, and then I decided to go through and look through all of the clients that I have currently and all the clients that are my favorites. And I found that who I thought I was going after and who I attracted were two completely different types. So if who you want is not who you're attracting, you also need to really delve into who you want and come up with a really good, like I said, this is the basics right now, but really identify who they are.
Sure, I think you make a really good point here, is that we may start a business and have a whole bunch of different types of clients that we start off with, but you use the phrase find your favorite or the people you like working with the most and position what you're doing to get more of them. And I think a lot of us don't really recognize that we have the power to do that. So I think that was a terrific point that people should think more about.
Well, it took a lot of insight on my part to figure that out too. I mean, I had, what I thought I wanted was a lot different than what I attracted, and really understanding where you're going with your business, what you look for. That's really going to be very helpful. So
that's great.
Yeah. So going back, this is a very brief presentation. My 6-week course, everything is so simple that you should be able to do it in 15 minutes to an hour, depending on how deep you need to get with each different thing. The basics are really just the basics. Sometimes we think we need to, we think everyone's our client, like I said earlier. Not everyone's your client, and understanding the basics, I've heard this comment before of everyone with skin. Well, but what if women prefer your product over men? Or what if men prefer your product over women? Those are things that you really need to understand. What about, what if the product that you have, you find that mainly college graduates are purchasing that product? So maybe rather than saying anyone, maybe you say, well, college graduates really enjoy this. So understanding the basics are going to lead you into where to find your clients on social media. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. The 6-week email course, really what it goes over is the basics, which we just did. There's a worksheet that comes with that you can fill out, circle, write as much notes as you want. Each week you'll get a worksheet with the email that you receive. But once you understand the basics, then you'll know where to find them on social media, and that's where week 2 comes into play. That's why it's so important to know the age, the demographics. I mean, if you're looking to work with someone that is like my clientele, 45 plus, has adult children, women, more than likely you're going to want to go to Facebook, because that's where most of them are going to be. So that's what week 2, we'll kind of go over where to find them, what different types of social media they're going to be on. Week 3, we talk about connecting with your clients. So this is where, once you've figured out what social media they're on and you join that social media, then you're going to go ahead and work on connecting with them. From there, we're going to dig deeper. So if you notice, back in one of my slides, I talked about how I really like coffee and I'm a tiny home enthusiast. So I follow things on my Facebook page, on my Facebook personally, that have to do with my interests, not just my demographics, whether I'm female or whatever. It's more of what I like. So I love to follow interesting pages that talk about coffee and things like that. So week 4 is about figuring out what their likes and dislikes are so you can speak to them directly. And then week 5 is to put everything together to create the ideal persona. And then the week 6 is kind of just what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a couple of topics, just basic topics that you can use to talk about on social media. So it's really simple, very to the point. If you can see what I went over here, very, very simple. Could take you, depending, especially if you're new at this, it could take a little bit longer, but that's about it. Very basic. So is there any questions?
No, we're seeing a couple of comments here, but no questions yet. So if you do have questions and you want to pop them into the chat here while we're on, great. And if you are watching a replay or end up asking a question later, we check back on this feed and we'll be sure to type in a question there for you as well. So I think we're in great shape time-wise. You were wonderfully concise compared to me last week. Thank you.
So why don't you give me a second? I'll get out of here so I can get back in.
Yeah. So I took a note here because you said something that I think I encountered earlier this week in meeting with a client that I think many of us relate to, which is how what we're posting may not necessarily resonate with us personally. And I had a client, I was sitting down and showing them a couple of approaches that they might take in a very similar process to what you've just talked about here today, identifying who that prospect is, that ideal client, what they want and all of that, and made some suggestions about the types of things they might propose to them. And the immediate reaction I got was, oh no, I would never click on that. I would never respond to that. And we talked out through the process that you just explained. And I think that it's something that we're all guilty of. I'm guilty of trying to create stuff for myself before I think through the process of creating something for the prospect, for the ideal client out there. And I think that is a really, really powerful concept, but it is also so simple as you've just outlined.
Well, and I'm guilty too, because if you notice, my whole presentation was purple. I like purple. Now, I don't know if our viewers like purple, but I like purple. So, we do bring in some of our personality into our posts, and that's important to kind of show off who you are. I'm sure not everyone wants to see my son, but I like seeing him. So little things like that, yes, you show off your personality, yes, you want to show off who you are, but at the same time, you want to make sure that what you're saying resonates with your clients. And so, yeah, sometimes you have to say things that maybe isn't what you would say or what you would be interested in, because you're not selling to yourself, you're selling to somebody else.
Yeah. There's so much great value in that concept that I think we overlook, and also knowing that something works and something doesn't, is another important value. One of the things that I like doing is using Facebook for people opting into a list. People who are watching this inside of a 22 Social app, they didn't have to fill out an email form to give us their email. They had to click a button and give Facebook permission to share their email address with us. And I have people who will say, oh, I would never click that button. But the vast majority of people would. And as a result, that's something that I've decided I'm going to use this platform when I market certain things. And that's another sort of really important area for people to understand, that we're not necessarily marketing to ourselves in a certain way.
Yeah, funny story about that. I totally agree. And my new website, it just launched a couple weeks ago. The very first thing you get on when you jump onto my website, it says technology sucks right across the top. And I was a little hesitant at first, because I don't think technology sucks, but it can, especially for my clients. And I showed my son this website, and he goes, Mom, why would you say technology sucks? It does not suck. It is so good. Did you realize all the things we can't have without technology? And I said, honey, you're not my demographic. You're not my target market. Of course, he didn't understand what that meant, but I finally said, I'm not doing this for you. I don't need to teach you about technology. I need to teach other people about technology. So, understanding your demographics and really grabbing into that is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. So I love the way that you've outlined this. You have, 6 weeks? It's all before you and I went on the air. I think you used the phrase baby steps, and I think that is something we often forget to do. We often dive in to everything, and I think the way that you've set this up is brilliant, because it's just one aspect, learning something, maybe mastering an aspect of it, but then you build it over time, and I think that's a really smart way to introduce people to, or reintroduce people to, how to do social media for their business. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, well, I know everyone's busy running their business, so trying to come up with another marketing thing or anything like that, it takes time, and it takes time out of running your business and doing what you love. So, I feel like creating something that's baby steps, doing a little bit at a time, will help you get it in the long run. You don't need it overnight. Let's do it one step at a time.
Great. Well, listen, if you have questions for us about either what Sarah's presented here today or these concepts in general, you're always welcome to leave them here in the comment stream. The other thing that we would love to hear from you about, as we are developing the content for this show on a weekly basis, is things that you'd like to hear from us. We have a slew of guests who we're excited to be able to start inviting on to present some of their perspectives on DIY marketing online. But we want to know what you're interested in. So please drop that in the comment box or reach out to Sarah or to me directly, and we'd love to know what you're interested in for your business so that we can help provide the answers, the solutions to your questions as well. So Sarah, do you have anything else that we want to cover today before we wrap things up?
I think we're good. I think that, following these first steps is a great way to at least get you started in knowing where to find your clients on social media.
Great. So if you haven't seen that, below this video there's either a button, or if you're watching it elsewhere, maybe a link to go ahead and grab Sarah's course. What are the details of the course, just so people know?
It's $27. It goes over 6 weeks, so as soon as you buy the course, you'll get a download link. You go ahead and click that. You'll get the worksheet, and you'll receive an email with more details. And every 7 days, you will get a new email.
Terrific. Easy as pie. Pie's maybe not that easy for some people, but should be a very straightforward and as we talked about, baby steps, very simple concepts that surprisingly many people don't actually utilize. So there should be a link, as I said, below this video. Go ahead and click on that. Grab a copy of Sarah's course. I'm going to be going through this as well, and probably tinkering around with some of the things that I do in my business, because we all learn from each other, and I look forward to learning from Sarah. So hey, Sarah, thank you so much for spending another half hour, or exactly a half hour. Thank you. We did a good job today, and really look forward to meeting up with you again next week and sharing some more insights with our guests here on DIY Digital.
Thank you, David. I'm looking forward to future presentations.
All right. Well, thanks, and for those of you out there, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again next Thursday, and Thursdays in the future. We're here at 10 a.m. for approximately a half hour at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So we'll look forward to seeing you again on a future broadcast. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.